the day of my semifinal.
That was 2017.
Right. Usain Bolt was getting ready to run his final race.
Oh.
So, crowded.
That's crazy.
Crowded stadium.
So you're doing strides next to Usain Bolt?
I was. I was doing my warm-up and he was doing his warm-up and I was like, this is surreal.
You dusted him, I'm sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally.
Welcome back to another episode of Talking While Running. Beautiful morning out here in Boulder, Colorado with somebody who went to school here and is now living here. Sara, Vaughn, the one and only, thank you so much. How you doing?
Sure, I'm doing great. Yeah, I've been running these roads for a couple decades now.
Yeah.
15 years, but yeah.
We'll get into it. I love it. You're originally from, I like to go back a little bit though, from western Nebraska?
Yeah, not too far from here, just like right over there.
Right, that's what I was going to say. It's like practically Colorado.
Yeah.
It's actually at elevation.
Yeah, like 4,000 feet.
Right, which is surprising to me.
It's the high plains, yeah.
How did you get into running in Nebraska and kind of find your passion for it?
So kind of a funny story.
We love those.
It was the summer before my freshman year, and I was a very serious gymnast.
Oh.
And my gym that fall, it went out of business.
No, okay.
So I
Nebraska gymnastics.
was not thriving. So I go to gym practice and the gym is just closed. It's like locked up. So I call
Oh my God, like Jamal Adams getting locked up.
Yeah, so I call my mom and she's like, okay, I'll come back and pick you up. She's like, I got an email yesterday, the cross country team's meeting. Like in 20 minutes, you just want me to take you over to the high school. And I was like,
oh my gosh,
all dressed to work out. And I had like old JCPenney like sneakers on.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess that's fine. And I showed up to a cross country practice. And the rest is history.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
You literally haven't turned back since.
No.
That's amazing. So you go on. I mean, I think you won state multiple times in Nebraska. And
Yeah.
very decorated. Kind of what was like the culture like as you got more and more into the sport and then, ended up graduating? Was it, what's your advice maybe for other Nebraska runners?
I just had a ton of fun. My coach did a really good job, helping me fall in love with the sport.
Huge.
We did banana relays at practice and fun, goofy things where
sharks and minnows.
Yeah, totally. Conversational runs where we'd run out to my grandma's house for cookies and lemonade. So just kept it fun. Definitely trained hard. By my senior year, I was running 40, 50 miles a week.
Yeah.
But just really let the process happen organically.
That's good.
Yeah.
Love to hear that. And so you go on to Virginia, actually. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did my freshman year there.
So it's probably not something you think about all the time these days, but, with that transfer process and, going from one school to another, what do you kind of remember about that? And maybe advice again for the NCAA kid.
Yeah, I think if it's not right, it's not right, and it's okay to change sooner rather than sticking it out and being miserable. UVA was a great school, but it just didn't fit for what I was looking for, and transferring closer to home, and this was just a much better fit for me. Just going ahead and pulling that trigger when you know it's not right, that's my best advice.
That's good stuff. So you go on to Colorado, obviously one of the best storied programs in the country. You ran with, your team was pretty stacked. I mean, can't name them all, but Jenny Behringer, now Jenny Simpson.
Yep.
Laura Thweat, I think you ran with.
Yep. Emma.
What about that time and that team kind of stands out?
Yeah, so, I think when I got there, they were really good. They had won NCAAs and in cross. But a lot of the upperclassmen were leaving. My class was actually a little more meager. We didn't have a ton that were my grade, but then coming up behind us, we had Laura, Emma, Jenny.
Right.
Jenny, I think she graduated, we're the same age, 1986 babies, but I think she was a year younger than me in college. So they were all coming up, and it was really fun. My college experience was a little atypical.
Yeah,
if
sure.
you don't know.
Yeah,
We had Kiki. You know, I got pregnant my sophomore year, so it's a little different for me.
Right. Super cool story, though.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we wouldn't change a thing,
Yeah.
but I graduated in 4 years. Ended up leaving a year of eligibility on the table, but just needed to move on with my life. So, very proud that I, you know, had time at CU, but I think right after, on the tail end of my career was when they really took off again.
Okay, yeah, sure. Well, I think it was your senior year, you were like 22nd at NCAA's, Jenny got second. What was that race like, or maybe is there a race that stands out stronger?
Yeah, I was an All-American in class, which was cool. I think the coolest part of my college career was after I had the baby, coming back and just having like not huge expectations and seeing where it took me, and it ended up getting all the way to NCAA's in the 1500 when she was like 6 months old. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I'm sure you get like inundated with the mom topic and all those questions and stuff. I don't want to just rehash the same interview, but did that, you know, change kind of your perspective or approach, or just not so much?
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, it kind of forces you into a different lifestyle.
Right.
I had to take things differently, but I had to just have a really open mind about everything and see where it went.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of people would have just closed the door on running and not looked back, and for me, I wasn't ready to like let go of that.
Yeah, still not. I love it. Yeah.
Exactly. It's part of who I am, and I think that in turn makes me a better mom. So
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said you kind of wanted to get on with your life after NCAA's.
Yeah.
But you've had a really awesome career on the track and now on the roads, which we'll get to. But I wanted to talk first about the 1500 and your experience with that. I mean, you've made 2 world teams.
Yeah.
Indoor, let me see if I get this right, Istanbul.
Yep.
And outdoor,
London.
Right.
Yeah.
So which of those was your favorite? And then maybe kind of break down those memories.
I mean, Istanbul was such an interesting experience.
Indoor track in Istanbul.
I mean, I feel like people were like, you know, it was a small, running indoor track. It's like a really cool stadium.
Yeah.
Neat experience. Different part of the world. So I'm glad I got my feet wet with that experience. That was kind of my first big international competition. But nothing compares to that London Olympic Stadium. Like 70,000 people.
Yeah.
The day of my semifinal.
That was 2017.
Right. Usain Bolt was getting ready to run his final race.
Oh.
So crowded.
That's crazy.
Crowded stadium.
So you're doing strides next to Usain Bolt.
I was. I was doing my warm up and he was doing his warm up, and I was like, this is surreal.
You dusted him, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
That's sick.
But yeah, it was really fun.
Which race was better in your opinion?
London. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I PR'd in the prelim.
Yep.
And then came back and ran like my second fastest time in the semi.
That's awesome.
Barely missed making the final.
But a PR in the
PR at the World Champs.
Yeah. Here, keep pushing the tee up this hill. We're good. All right. So you're still, as of at least 2021, you were still on the 1500 grind.
Yes.
I mean, how did you start 2021 with, I know you did sound running and some other meets, and you had some great races. I mean,
thank you.
If anyone didn't know better, they didn't see the second half of the calendar, they would have thought, wow, she had a great 1500 season.
Yeah.
Take us through that and what you remember. I mean, you won a couple of races, I think. PR, no? Close, okay, so.
We actually started the track season focused on the steeple.
Oh, all right.
Which was my way of avoiding the 5K.
Okay, that's awesome.
I had done steeple.
That's advice for everyone out there.
And I was like, I just don't get along with the 5K very well.
That's interesting.
So we kind of switched focus back to the steeple. It went okay. PR'd in the steeple.
Unreal.
Made it to the trials in both steeple and 15.
Yeah.
Chose to focus on the steeple. Prelim at the trials with terrible.
Okay.
Like really bad.
Any idea what happened, or?
I worked like 50 hours a week the week
Okay.
before. Just did not
That'll
do a
do
good
it.
job, like
Yeah.
switching hats in that instance.
We're going off road here.
Yeah, so it just didn't go well. Bad
Yeah,
way to
no,
have a
that
bad day.
happens. Everyone knows that, for sure.
But switched focus back to the 15 after that, mostly just because there's not a lot of opportunity for the steeple domestically.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, won a couple of races, ran 405.
Unreal.
Had a good, like a little bit of a redeeming second part of the season.
Right. So, what was kind of like your mentality going into that? I mean, running a 1500, like some odd years later after NCAA, like you're still killing it. You still have speed, obviously. Like, how do you do that? I mean,
Well, it was still, and still is, a race that I love.
yeah,
I love feeling fast. I love running all out for,
just ripping it.
4 minutes and just seeing what happens. So, yeah, that was my mentality. Is just, let's see what happens. Let's see if I can still run fast. And I feel like it took me all season to get my speed back.
Okay.
That year, I was postpartum.
Yes.
2020 was all canceled. I hadn't raced in like 2.5 years.
All right.
So it just took me a while
Yep.
to get the wheels turning again. But, yeah.
Yeah,
I
well.
still loved it. So.
All right, that's also good advice. Like,
Yeah.
if you love it, then things will happen. But
Yeah.
also a great little segue. I mean, that translated, you got your wheels back.
Yes.
And that translated in a big way, it seemed, as you trained for your first marathon and eventually killed CIM. Like, I mean, it's just one of the most unreal things I've seen. Like, take us through that race, 2:26, I believe, course record.
Yep.
On your first go, no less. Like, was it you can throw that in the back if you
Okay,
want.
perfect. Handy.
This is the best show in running, baby. Like, do you think that spring track season really translated? Or is that
Yeah.
kind of a coincidence?
No, I think a couple of things. Like, first, a ton of mileage leading up every fall for the last decade. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like I just, off the cuff, last fall decided to start running 120 miles a week.
Is that like a cross country trend, or why do you do that?
I've been in this sport for a long time, so I think it's just sort of the natural progression of things for me.
Yeah.
I've just naturally added more and more miles.
Yeah.
And the fall before CIM, I was running 100-mile weeks pretty consistently. And that was just like where we were gaining fitness and what was left in my training,
Right.
like where to take the next steps. So this fall, yeah, I mean, it wasn't a huge leap. Obviously in race distance it was.
Yeah.
But in training it was like
That's interesting.
more of a logical step
Right.
than it appears.
Kind of overdue then.
Yeah. I probably should have moved to the 5K, 10K a little while ago.
Sure. Yeah.
Half marathon sounded miserable, and I was like, oh, a marathon, yeah.
That's so interesting.
In December, that sounds great.
Yeah. Well, and also, so one thing I saw you said in an article was like, I think generally people think CIM is really fast and not easy, of course, but it is a place where you can run fast, run a good Boston qualifier.
Yeah.
But you said that might not really be the case, and you have the course record. So tell us, like, why is that? Was it elevation? Was it just like the layout, or what?
I thought the course was hard. I mean, you do have a lot of long downhills the first half, and I feel like it kind of beats up your quads.
Yeah.
You have to be super strong to like close hard that race.
Which you did.
I did, luckily.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Luckily the training paid off, but yeah, I mean, it's not just like a smooth rhythm course.
Okay.
I felt like my rhythm was changing a lot. There's lots of undulation. And the net downhill I don't think is like automatically translates to
Fast.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, is there like a strategy or something that you are or mantra or almost something like that you're thinking about when you're going downhill?
I just kind of let it loose.
Okay.
I'm like, don't put on the brakes, just kind of let it flow.
All right.
So yeah,
that's good. Yeah.
hopefully it'll translate to Boston too.
Okay, so you segued it again. Teed me up.
Yeah.
Boston on the calendar.
Yep.
First time in a while, in a couple of years. It's back in April.
Right.
Your first Boston.
Yep.
What's on your mind right now? We're weeks away. We're fine.
Yeah.
But how's it going?
Yeah, it's 8 weeks from today.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Monday, by the way.
It's training's going well. Training's a little different than last time as far as specific workouts and stuff, but everything is we've checked all the boxes so far.
Great.
So we're getting into kind of the meat of it, but I'm excited.
All right. Well, is there any workout or anything behind the curtain you could let us in on? Just like we can go viral, drop the clip, and let people know. No,
we don't do anything too complicated.
No flashy, yeah.
It's like very, very simple. On the schedule we have a couple 2-mile repeat type workouts.
That's great.
We've got 3x5K,
Yeah.
which we did last time. Mostly a lot of solid long runs on these dirt roads.
Yep.
Rolling the hills. Yeah, nothing magical.
Okay.
Just stacking bricks.
Yeah, I love it. And one thing I think I wanted to ask you about on the workout side, we'll flip here, by the way. Here, I'll put a pin in that until we flip.
Perfect.
Here we go. Let her go. Oh, so what you said about workouts I saw also was like, from the 1500 experience, when you show up to a track workout, you want to have, a really good warm-up, extensive strides, spikes ready to go.
Yeah, body feeling good.
Locked in mentally.
Yeah.
And you said for a marathon, like that's rare if that has happened to you in the build-up at all. So, I wanted to touch on that because I think there's marathoners out there that need to hear that.
Yes.
And also, like, kind of elaborate on that, like, how do you remind yourself this is what it's supposed to feel like, and I have incredible base right now, and
yeah. I mean, honestly, that's sort of what's appealing to me about marathon training is I can kind of show up half asleep.
Yeah.
Roll through the first rep, and I remember kind of being freaked out during the build up to CIM, like I don't feel good, and Brent's like, my husband and coach, he's like, that's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to feel good to put in the work, get the work done, and that's going to be a familiar feeling.
Right.
During the marathon itself.
Yeah.
So.
Very true.
Yeah.
That's good. So, do you remember feeling that in CIM? Like, okay, I'm kind of hitting a wall, but I've been here.
I know that not every marathon's going to be like this.
Right. You were rolling.
But at CIM, I felt so dang good.
Dude, that's awesome.
Brent was like, don't push until mile 20. We really wanted to practice being patient.
Yeah.
And we got to mile 20, and I still was like a little nervous of the next 10K.
Sure.
I feel like at the last couple miles, I was like, let's try to make it hurt.
Okay.
But I think I had more to dig from than I thought.
That's awesome.
So I know they're not all going to be like that.
Right.
I know I got lucky
That's all right.
to feel that way on the first one, but that was the point too.
Right.
Like, I think Brent wanted me to finish like wanting to do another one.
Right.
So that goal was accomplished.
That's good. So you mentioned your husband is also coaching you.
Yes.
I wanted to ask about that. We've had a few athletes with parents coaching them.
Yeah.
Different situations. How's it going with a husband, and how does that work?
It's not always easy.
Sure.
We have to be pretty mindful about the hats we wear and which one we're wearing when.
Right.
So at practice, we don't talk about the kids, and we don't talk about work, and we don't talk about marriage stuff. We very much coach athlete hats. And then as soon as workout's over, it's like a conscious shift.
That's really cool.
And you have to do it that way because stuff bleeds over naturally.
Yeah, of course.
But we don't want to spend every family dinner talking about Boston.
Yeah.
We don't want to spend every date night talking about workouts. So we're just like really mindful and like deliberate
with
how we split our time.
And you also mentioned a little bit that you're also a full-time realtor.
Yes.
Which also shout out Kiera D'Amato.
Yeah.
Another marathon legend right now. Is also a real estate.
Yep.
I don't know, how's that profession kind of tie in with your running life? And is it conducive to running in some way mentally?
I think it's a great complement to running. It's tough on family life.
Okay.
For example, nobody wants to look at houses right now at 9 a.m.
Okay.
So I can get a 2-hour workout in the morning.
Yeah.
And like running it's pretty complementary schedule-wise. And a lot of my clients kind of are in both worlds,
Sure.
which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you sold a house to any big runners in Boulder area?
Totally, but
Can you not disclose that?
it's like totally confidential.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll drop your social media and stuff, but also like a realtor.
My clientele is faster than your clientele.
That's good. That's actually in Boulder. That's probably like a really valuable fact line. All right. So more news. There's a lot of stuff to fit in here. I want to get to. You signed with PUMA. Excuse me.
Yeah.
How did that come about? And what is that brand, how's that going?
I mean, I love that they're like reinvesting a lot in their running and their shoe development, and track and field in general. They knocked on my door, which was so nice because after chasing sponsors for 10 years and being told no, over and over, they came to me and I wasn't even looking.
Yeah.
So that was
really
super
cool.
refreshing. And I'm super happy. Feel like part of a family. I like representing something bigger than myself,
Of course.
which I haven't really been able to do besides Ann Mother last year. So yeah, it's been a good deal.
Well, so what's been the highlight of the product side? What shoes do you wear now? And let's give them a little breakdown. I love all of them. Their new racing flat, I believe it's called the Faster. Oh yeah, Faster. Yeah.
So sweet. Like I'm so stoked to race in that. That's by far my favorite.
That looks sick. Well, I saw on your Instagram actually you had a photo with that.
Yeah.
We'll drop that. I want to get a pair. We'll see if off camera I'll pull it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, they're awesome.
And then, I had something on the tip of my tongue. Totally dropped it.
The kids are stoked about the gear too.
Oh
They're
yeah,
gonna
do you
get
have
some shoes and
PUMA kid shoes?
honestly, if you can please a high schooler with any like clothing product, like you're cool.
That's next level.
Kiki's stoked about it. So.
That's great. Yeah. Let's see. Do you think your kids are going to get into cross country or track while we're on the subject, or is that?
They're getting there.
Okay.
They all kind of have their own thing, but Kiki's definitely doing some off-season training for track.
Let's go.
She's gonna do the high jump and the hurdles, but also the 2 mile and mile.
I love
So I'm like, whatever. I love that. It's like my goal. If they want to run, it's just that they fall in love with it, like I did.
Right.
I don't want them to feel pressure or obligation.
Heck, you found it with the canceled gymnastics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you tend to love the things you're good at.
Yeah.
And I know Kiki's got some talent and she can push, and I think she'll be good at it. So.
Unreal.
Yeah, and then the other ones will follow suit, I think.
Yeah, you have a 2-year-old too, so that's a little early.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing you touched on, I want to jump back for a second. You kind of touched on chasing a sponsor for 10 years or so.
Yeah.
What can you kind of share with people or other pros, even just like, how did that go and any big lessons from that time?
It was hard not to take it personally for me for a while. I had to really learn to let go that like just because somebody didn't want to sign me didn't mean I wasn't valuable to the track and field community. And that was important to me. Like I wanted to contribute. I wanted to be part of this larger community, and not getting paid to do it. Yeah, it took me a while to get over that.
Yeah.
But as soon as I did, and like really let that go, that's when things started to click.
Yeah.
Like in 2017, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna sponsor myself. I got my real estate license in like 2014 and started to make money outside of the sport, and that's when things really came together for me.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different paths, and you can be successful lots of different ways. I think just staying true to yourself is the biggest deal.
Yeah. Letting it go kind of makes it come to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Proof. All right. So I don't even know where to go from here. I want to talk more about the marathon, but I don't want to bore people with the specifics. Do you think you're gonna, look more to the 1500 after Boston? Have you thought that far ahead?
I think I'm gonna miss track this summer.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably have to revisit the 5K.
Yep.
Probably have to put up a 10K. But I don't know. If it happens, great. If not, I think the interesting thing is I'm not planning a 10-year marathon career.
Sure.
I think I got 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And I want to make the most of it, and I want to do all the majors
All
and
right.
all the fun road races.
All right. We're breaking news here.
I want to do all the fun road racing. Like it feels like a whole new sport in some ways.
Yeah.
which
For sure.
is like revitalizing for me, but like super exciting too, because it's all these new opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any like, do you have like a goo sponsor or anything like that? I wanted to ask, what was kind of your experimentation with that? I mean,
Yeah.
your first marathon to kill it like that, like there had to be something working there.
So luckily I run here a lot with Boulder Underground.
Yep, Matt Hensley.
Yeah, exactly, and he would have all kinds of goodies in his trunk.
Oh.
And so I would try different things, and I tried one gel stick not to be named and like puked.
Okay.
Okay, that's a no.
Yeah.
Like gagged on it. But I've always used Scratch products.
Okay.
Which is a local Boulder company. Their drink mix worked really well for me. I didn't have to do much experimenting.
That's great.
Other than that one gel, the other goos have all been good.
Good. Yeah, I think people are kind of, when they get into marathoning or into this world, it's like, yeah, you kind of have to throw up to find out. Like, that's part of it.
It's a hard way to find out I didn't like that, but you know, we try not to overthink it too. It's just calories in,
Yep.
keep them in, whatever goes down.
Unbelievable. Well, honestly, I want to wrap before we lose all this good footage with the cameras. But we're going to drop all of Sarah's social media below. The run will be on Trackster, as always, description below. Follow along. Thanks so much. Like and comment, obviously. And yeah, thanks so much, Sarah, for joining us.
Of course, thanks
Can I
for
get some
having me.
next? Unreal. If you could see it in the rear view, just let me know, and then we'll rock it.